Patty, if you are somebody who winterizes your RV, there's a good chance you live in the north.
Right.
And during the winter, besides worrying about your water lines freezing, sometimes you have to worry about, well, some friends using your RV.
Right.
And we're going to talk about that in this week's episode of Travels with Delaney,
the podcast.
Welcome back, everyone. My name's Patrick.
I'm Patty.
And this week, we are going to be talking about how to deal with mice getting into your RV.
I'm going to call them ninja mice.
Yeah, but before we talk about those ninja mice, we have to play another episode of This or That.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, I'm thinking. I'm ready.
All right, you ready?
I'm awake.
Well, it is the holiday season.
It is.
So,
Yay.
Today's question deals with the holidays.
All right.
And the question is, if you only get to watch one holiday movie this year, would you rather watch White Christmas or Miracle on 34th Street?
Ooh, those are my two favorites. That's not fair.
I know. I did it intentionally.
That's not fair. I want to see them both. But
you only get one.
I'm going with Pine Tree, Vermont. White Christmas.
White Christmas it is.
Columbia Inn.
Yeah, I'm with you. That
with
is
Rosemary and Bing and Danny Kaye and the poor cute lady. I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
The dance is awesome. I love that movie.
Yeah, that is absolutely
Sisters.
that's the one I have to watch every
Sisters.
Christmas.
Yes, it
My
is
all-time favorite.
awesome.
I know for a lot of people, there's great debate.
Yeah.
Like, they like the more modern ones, like Family Vacation.
Right.
For some reason, people always consider Home Alone.
Well, what does
even
Russ consider?
a Die Hard as a
Hard,
Christmas movie. But for me, I'm more traditional. I want that
We
White
want
Christmas.
that old-fashioned Christmas. And Holiday Inn.
Holiday Inn, Christmas in Connecticut. I mean, those are some good ones. And I'm not going to lie, I am a softie when it comes to the Hallmark Christmas movies.
We do like getting our Hallmark on.
I mean, every one is identical. I mean, they all have somebody escaping the city, going to the country, hooking up with an old friend from high school.
But they can't get along with it first.
But then they can't get along with it first, and then they start liking each other.
Right.
They somewhere along the lines break up with their boyfriend, girlfriend that was in the city.
Right.
And in the end, they all live happily ever after.
Well, and they make cookies and decorate and make gingerbread houses.
And sometimes Santa shows up, too.
Right.
So
I love those movies.
So anyway, I thought that would be a good this or that as we head into the holiday
was a toughie,
season.
But really not.
Yeah. And speaking of holiday season, this one is airing the week of Thanksgiving, and we just want to wish all of you a very happy Thanksgiving. We thank you for that turkey sound, Patty. Hopefully you get to spend time with your friends and family.
Yeah.
We get to do both.
Yep.
We're going to be spending Wednesday night with my dad and my brother-in-law and niece and nephew. And then
Thanksgiving with my side of the family, my brother, my sister, their kids, my dad, my mom. And then
we get to go hang out with our friends, Jim and Abe.
Yeah.
And by the way, we might as well do it right here.
All right.
Not only is Jim our friend, but he's also our producer.
He is.
And he is the one that makes sure these podcasts get to you every week. He has to go through, edit them, make all the audio just right.
Yep.
And we could not do it without Jim.
Well, without him, we wouldn't have this, so.
No.
Yep.
So
thank
you, Jim. And we will be looking forward to treating you to some old fashions and Manhattans and any other bourbon drinks you want me to mix up while we're spending the weekend together.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be great.
Love it.
Hey, Patty, we actually have some comments this week.
I see
And before we get into the topic, I want to go ahead. I'm going to start with the first one. It says 5 stars to Patrick and Patty. This one comes from O'Boyle C. I think I know who that is.
Yeah.
I think that's the Grand Shamrock Tour on YouTube. It says, we so enjoy listening to Patrick and Patty. These are great ideas of easy cooking while you RV. Interestingly enough, I don't even remember what episode.
Talking about cooking.
Yeah, but we must have done an episode where we talked about it.
We must have done something.
So thank you so much for that. And the other one comes to us from Teresa Ann 22, and she says, love this, just started listening. So,
I just thought maybe they're referring to the cooking. We had that episode about fall foods.
Oh, that was it. The fall food. How did we forget that one?
I don't know. That seems like a different life.
I know.
It was summer still, and it was warm, and we were at the campground, and it's totally different.
So, and thank you so much for those who went in and read star ratings. I'm looking this week on Apple Podcasts because not all of the platforms allow you to leave comments. You can just rate. We're very thankful. We do have a 4.9 out of 5.0 through 15 ratings. Woo. And so most of them have been 5 stars, and we appreciate that because that's really what will help get us out there.
Right. Absolutely.
So, and if you leave a comment on another platform, you might shoot us an email at travelswithdelaney@gmail.com because I'm still trying to learn which platforms allow for comments. So anyway, well, Patty, let's dive into this week's topic because I think this is a really important one.
The ninja mice.
The ninja mice. Patty swears they're like little ninjas. They can get in anywhere.
I think they are just crazy little warriors.
And here's the thing. We have lived here since 2016. We had not had an issue with mice in our RVs until last year.
Yeah, last spring.
And we think here it was because we had a tornado go through and take out a lot of trees, and then we had the ice storm last winter, and it's probably kind of disrupted their habitat.
And I think, because out back with all the, because you used to do an awesome job. You keep the weeds at bay, and all the junk that grows that has ivy and all that. That was kind of more of a distance, and now it's kind of more closer. And I think the little critters are coming in closer.
So you're blaming me because you said you used to keep it up.
Well, it's so hard now, honey. I wasn't blaming you.
Right.
With all those down trees, it's still kind of dangerous out there, and there's just, you don't know what you're going to get into out there, and it's still just kind of a mess, in my opinion. But
we're not the only ones that are dealing with this issue, and that's why we thought we would talk about it this week to at least share what we've been doing.
Well, we had some education on this. Yeah. We had to figure something out.
So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure your RV is sealed up.
Sure.
And in many places you can. Now, I don't think you can 100%.
Yeah, we figured that out. You can't.
No, because, for instance, ours has a slide out with a rack and pinion. There has to be an opening in the frame for those to slide in and out.
And even if we brought in the slide, there's
still an opening there.
The little ninjas get in there.
But what you do want to do is go around and look on the frame and the underbelly for any openings. And you can either fill those with things like the spray foam.
Right.
Or we have found that steel wool, that mice have a harder time chewing through that and sometimes just don't want to get near it.
They're lazy.
And so if if there's somewhere where you're like, I don't feel comfortable putting spray foam, you can just stuff steel wool in. In fact, I ended up using steel wool inside our RV because both in the cabinet below the kitchen sink and the bathroom, there's a big opening where the pipes come up.
Right.
I just stuffed it full of steel wool. Hopefully that's going to help. I should mention, we have had Ohana, our Alliance 22 ml
since
fifth wheel,
Memorial Day weekend,
and it's only been home since the middle of October.
And we've already had
one,
a Ninja Warrior
who was nesting under our kitchen sink in the napkins we left in.
Yeah, we had napkins and trash bags, so it was trying to make a nest in there.
So I went under, and then the other thing was we seen an area, because what Alliance does is they cut some openings in the underbelly so that you can
get to those
access
pipes, right?
Yeah, key areas, and then they put a piece over it, kind of screw it in so it's like an access panel. Well, I actually found today, I was out there sealing that up with tape. I think I know where he came in. There was a piece that just wasn't completely tight, and that's why we taped up those access points really good. So if we ever have to get in there, we'll just cut that tape, unscrew it, and be able to get in. But I went around and really, so that's one of the things you want to look at is just look everywhere under your RV and in your frame.
Well, we did that with the tab, if you think about it, because there was some couple little areas you put some kind of metal wiring or
I just used some gutter guard and
put it in there. So anything that you can try to block their
openings,
way.
So that's kind of the first thing you want to do. Now, the second thing we want to talk about is deterrence.
Yeah.
Things that will, if they do try to get in, that may deter them from staying around.
Right.
And the first thing we are trying out this year
is
for the
a
first
hedge apple.
A hedge apple. And we're fortunate, right down the road on a dirt road.
There's some trees, and they're like crazy all over.
Oh my gosh, they're all over
and it's
in
just,
the road.
The farmers don't care. They're in the road, so we've been grabbing a bunch.
Yeah, I think I picked up about 8 or 10 of them, and we're just putting them under the RV. Now, I've seen other people say you should cut them in half, put them in like bowls. If you're going to put them inside because they seep like an oil.
Well, and even if you put them inside, you're supposed to put them in a little bowl because they do seep out sweetness.
Yeah. Underneath the trailer, I just left them whole and I've just laid them under the RV.
I think it's going to help.
Yeah, so we'll find out how that works. Now, some people believe Irish Spring soap is a deterrent.
Right.
And what I have read through a little bit of research, not a ton, but a little bit, is about 50% of the people say it really does work, and another 50% said, yeah, it didn't work.
Yeah. I think basically it just smells awesome.
Yeah.
So, but what they said they like to nibble on it. Isn't that
Well,
crazy?
there were some people in this research I saw that they said when they did it, they went back and the mice had just ate it.
Isn't that nuts?
But other people said they never had an issue. So the article I read said if you're going to use Irish Spring, a lot of people will kind of carve it off into shavings and just put it around their floor. They suggested the first time you try it, use more like chunks.
Yeah.
And then if you notice that it's been nibbled on, then you'll know it's probably not working.
Right.
But the idea is it's the smell that they don't like.
Yeah, they don't like that smell, I guess.
Yeah. And we found one that we're trying this year. We're not trying the Irish Spring.
And isn't it crazy? It came up on your Facebook feed after we had this issue. It's like, how do they know?
How do they know?
Who was watching?
But it's called Grandpa Gus's.
Yeah.
And it comes in different forms. You can get it in a spray form where you can go around and spray it. We actually bought pouches. And the nice thing is, I believe they're non-toxic,
right?
So we don't have to worry about the dogs. And you just lay them around. They say they're good for up to 90 days, but you want to check them periodically.
Sure.
And honestly, they smell.
They smell awesome.
Yeah, it's almost like essential oils. There's definitely peppermint in there, maybe some cedar.
What you think? Maybe there's some like cayenne pepper.
Well, I've read that pepper.
Maybe?
I actually read that some people will go around and put out hot sauce in little bowls.
They don't like the hot
mice
spice.
don't like. They don't like the smell of peppers.
I just think sometimes they go, "Ooh, they flavored it for me. I got some spicy." You might get a mouse that likes spicy food.
Yeah. So I don't know.
We'll try
the Grandpa Gus's we're trying because we've seen lots
farmers.
Farmers. We were reading that they use it in like their tractors and combines.
And
they'll just throw a packet in the winter to help keep the mice out. So we're trying that. And what we like about it, again, is the smell is actually a positive smell.
Yeah, it's not bad because the next one we know about, but I just
can't
do it.
And it works. And that's mothballs. Mothballs are known that mice can't stand it, but neither can humans.
Well, I think the only way I can do it, and I think we did it when we had our other seasonals, we put it underneath.
Right.
Outside.
I would put them under the RV, not in the RV.
No.
Now, we've known friends that put them right in their RV, but then, oh my gosh.
It does not go away.
No, it doesn't.
It's terrible.
And that's why I'm really hoping this Grandpa Gus's product works because, again, it's a positive smell
versus a
negative smell. Yeah, I mean, I think so, right? Yeah. The other thing that you can get as a deterrent is the little plug-in electrical devices.
Right.
They emit almost like a high-pitched sound that supposedly will help deter mice.
They don't like it, I guess.
Yeah, so I don't know
we used to have one in the garage,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, when we moved in, there was one plugged in. It finally died. Now, we've never bought another one.
we might want to.
But that could be something to look into if you're like, well, I don't really want something smelling in my RV.
So maybe try that.
If you have power. But that's the other thing. A lot of people, when they winterize, unlike us, we keep our RV plugged in.
Yeah, they won't have power.
You wouldn't have power. And I think that's where things like hedge apples and maybe Irish Spring Smoke or soap, soap, Irish Spring soap. And this Grandpa Gus's. Look for those types of deterrents. And like I said, if you have them really bad, you live near cornfields, things like that, that's where they tend to really pop up.
Right.
You may have to put some mothballs, but I would recommend under the RV, not in the RV.
Yeah,
and you'll still probably have some smell.
You'll smell, I'm sure. Yeah, because I think we had in the other spot you could still smell that sometimes.
Yeah. The other thing we should mention is if you're truly winterizing your RV, you want to make sure you clean out almost everything.
All the food, anything that has a scent, I think.
Yeah, well, food and anything that, if it's a heavy plastic bottle, it would be hard to chew through. But again, do you really want to leave shampoo because it's going to freeze?
We take all that stuff out because I'm afraid it would freeze or maybe explode or make a mess.
But
a
good example is like we left some napkins, which seem harmless enough. But what they did was they were shredding the napkins. And then they were building a nest in the garbage bag, the extra garbage bags in the little box.
I'm telling you, ninjas.
Yeah.
They're ninjas.
Oh, they can. I'll tell you what, mice can get through the smallest areas.
Tiniest little hole. Yeah.
And we had them again last year. I went out, found that they had been in the Lance. I try not to tell Patty because she hates it.
It just drives me crazy because now I think it's dirty and there's just nasty little animals.
The good news is in the Lance it was all contained to right under the kitchen sink. The only thing was I I found them one time and didn't really do anything about it other than clean up. And then the spring went back and they'd been in there again and really did a number again where they were nesting. And so I had to wash all the silverware.
They walked all over
yeah,
that stuff.
I cleaned it. I mean,
bad.
you don't want to take a chance with that. So
no.
luckily where they were in the Alliance,
right.
there wasn't much
nope,
in there.
They couldn't get.
I just threw away the napkins. I mean, the trash bags were fine. But yeah, so that's something to consider is make sure, because I remember one year my sister and brother-in-law had forgot a bag of candy.
Yeah, that was bad.
The candy was all gone in the spring, and they had done some real damage. Like they had actually gnawed through
like a cabinet door,
right?
Yeah,
because in a lot of the RVs, the lower end RVs, they use like that pressed, almost like a cardboard for some of them.
Didn't that happen in your mom and dad's Cougar?
They actually had an issue in their Cougar too, where it gnawed through a vent opening. It was a wood vent opening, and it just
made another opening.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, they're ninjas.
Yeah, so you just really want to go through your RV. Ours is a little bit different, only because we are not constantly, but we are using it on a monthly basis in the winter.
Right.
But even us, we have to make sure if we do leave food in there, it's things like canned food, or things that are sealed up in containers.
No dog food, nothing like that. No treats for them.
And we're just not going to be able to, if we're going to keep things like napkins, we're going to have to put them in like a heavy
I'm going to need
Ziploc
to put like
bag.
or a storage container, small, like where you can close it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that you may want to use, this is, I think, a personal choice, but that's to use some kind of trap or poison.
Right.
And we actually use a product called Tomcat. I've been using it here in the house for the last 5 or 6 years.
And the what is that called? The crawl space.
Yeah. And the Tomcat has worked good for us. They come with little plastic traps. Right? Well, trap's not the right word.
No.
It's a little plastic container that the poison goes in.
Right.
And that's to protect children and pets. They won't be able to get into it, but a mouse will crawl in there and start eating it. The downside to poisons is if they end up dying in your RV,
then it stinks.
It's going to stink.
Yep.
Yeah. And so now I did put some poison in ours in the little container so that just in case we forget to remove it, we don't have to worry about Truman and Bess.
Sure.
But I did that mainly because I actually saw a mouse in our RV. So
just now?
No, not now, but like a week ago.
Oh, shoot.
I opened the outdoor storage and I was getting something, and I lifted up one of our chairs, the camp chairs, and I saw it run through, and I was like, oh, we got a problem. And so I wish, for those of you listening on the audio version, I wish you could see Patty's face right now, because I had not told her about this. But, and so I had went ahead and came into the garage, got a rat poison, put it in there because I was like, this guy has to go now, because I don't want him chewing on any wiring, because there's wiring there. And
help me, Jim.
And didn't think much about it. And then I went out a few days later and I went to get something from under the kitchen sink, and that's when I noticed, oh, we've had one in here too. And so so I did put the poison out, because I'm like, if there is one in here, I can't just work on deterrent at this point. I need eradication. And so
I think you made up a word.
And here's the thing.
I'm thinking execution.
Yes, maybe. There is some of the block missing. So something in the outdoor storage, something had nibbled on it. So my guess is, rest in peace.
Hopefully it doesn't die in the trailer, because then it'll stink.
Well, I looked really good in there. I don't see him, but not to say he's not in the underbelly. So.
Oh, golly.
Yeah, I do this on during a live podcast like this, because that way she has to behave herself since we're on air. So,
Thanks, dear.
So, but no, there's been no sign in over a week, and now that we have the deterrents in there, I still have the poison just as a backup.
Now you realize I'm not going out there unless you're going out there.
That's fine. I
think we need a cat.
No, we do not need a cat. We have Truman and Bess.
The cat can live in the RV.
You think Truman and Bess will go after it if they see it?
No, they'll play.
So. Anyway, so that's what we're doing, and we would love to hear what you guys do if you winterize. Now, I know some of you live in the South. You don't have to winterize, and maybe mice is not an issue for you. Dryer sheets is another one.
I
just
don't know
thought
about
of.
that one.
Yeah, my mom always put dryer
always
sheets
did,
all
didn't
over.
she?
Yeah, and they smell nice. Now, do they really work? I don't know.
I don't know.
Does
I
any
do
of this
remember
stuff
we
really
did.
work?
I know your mom used to put that all through every. We
Yeah,
used to do
she'd
that,
open
didn't we?
Yeah, we did too. We'd open all the
Uh-huh.
cabinets and put dryer sheets, and she always said that again because of the smell, it was a deterrent. So,
Okay.
all right, so
Now
there
I'm
you go.
stressed. Now I'm a little
Now
stressed.
I've got Patty all stressed, and now it's going to be fine. It happens. I mean, it can happen in your home. It can happen. I mean, honestly, they can get in the smallest of spaces. But if you take precautions, which we didn't do, because quite frankly, the RV had only been home like a week or two.
Yeah.
I was just not expecting it so soon. I
Mm.
kind of had planned on getting something for later this winter, but.
Mhm.
And the other thing is, right now we're in Indiana, Northeast Indiana.
Harvest.
It's harvest time, so I'm sure they're on the run.
They're running.
And we have fields just across the road.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
so
A
there
cat.
are. Let's just put it this way, Patty. There are different kind of mice. There's Mickey Mouse,
And Ratatouille.
and
They're
we like
cute.
both of them. We
Yeah.
like but then there's
These
the
are
kind.
ninjas.
These are ninjas.
I think
so.
we need to invite Willa George.
Willa
to come
George.
visit.
Yeah, our
They
friends
have a Maine
have
Coon.
a Maine Coon cat.
She's welcome to come.
Yeah, maybe we need to have them bring Willa George and just let Willa George on the prowl.
She
so.
can just take care of it.
All right, everyone. Well, we hope this is useful information, or at
my.
least make you think about it. We're
Yeah.
not trying to scare anybody.
I'm scared.
Yeah, Patty, I did scare Patty. Hopefully not you, though.
I'm scared.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And again, if you get a chance to go out on wherever you're listening, Apple Podcast, or if you're whatever platform you're using has a place to leave us a comment, please do so we can read it during our next podcast. And otherwise, you can also check us out on Travels with Delaney, the podcast YouTube channel, if you want to see the video version and see Patty's face
Yeah.
when I tell her. And until next time,
Lots of fun.
we'll see ya.
On down the road.
Bye.
Travels with Delaney. We'll see you on down the road.